Hello, everybody. I don't know what happened there. Welcome to another episode of Yecca, where we cover culture, conspiracy, carnivore, and Christ consciousness. Let me get this live going on the Rock Fan. I am on America Unplugged on their Rockfin channel. They're so gracious to let me hop on there. And so if you're watching me there, be sure to say hi in the comments. So I got a new computer and I am still, I forgot that I got a new computer because it's basically the exact same as the other one. And so I was a little late today because I had to download a whole bunch of stuff and get passwords for this and that and all that. And so it was a little bit, I forgot I had to do all that stuff. So welcome. Thank you for joining me, everybody. I know it's normally on a Tuesday, and I'm actually thinking about changing the schedule of the show. Maybe Friday is a good day. I don't know if you guys have a recommendation for a better day to watch this live stream. I think noon is a good time. Honestly, I'm really open to ideas. I don't know. I know I need to be making more content on here for you guys. And, I'm only one person, so I'm trying to do a million things every day. And so making more content is something that I do want to do for y'all because I have so many ideas and I literally have a list of post ideas and things that I want to talk about in my phone. I probably have multiple lists, honestly, because anytime I get an idea, I just write it down and then I'll forget about it. And then, the other day I was sitting there and I was going through my list and I was like, oh my gosh, I have so much content here that I can make. And so that's something that I want to focus on, is making more content. And even on like my YouTube too, making like little, I'm not banned on there right now yet. So making anything on there, little like short reels. And I know you guys really like recipe videos, and I was thinking about doing that today, but I'm just getting over some sort of sickness. I have no idea what it was. I have not ever been that sick feeling my whole adult life. It was crazy. So I'm just getting over that. So I was just decided that I wanted to just share my health journey with you guys and a little bit of my redemption story. And I have I didn't have any recipe idea because I'm also like trying to finish this big pot of chicken soup that I made. Thankfully I had just enough energy to make that yesterday, and it was so crazy how crazy I felt, and I still feel a little bit today, but not too much. I guess that's what it's like to feel sick. I have not, for basically like most of my adult life, I have not gotten sick, especially not like that, to where I was like lightheaded and nauseous and had a horrible cough. And I thought to take my temperature, and had a fever, and then I ordered groceries to get delivered so I could get medicine. I couldn't even get out of bed and ride into town. So I just went ahead and spent the money to get that stuff delivered. I was so out of it that instead of buying natural cough medicine, I bought real drugs, like real cough medicine, that they had to ID me when they delivered my stuff. And it was so funny because I thought it was like a homeopathic medicine because it was like clear, totally clear. And so normally when medicines are clear, that doesn't have dyes and things like that. So, and normally that's natural stuff when it doesn't have dyes. And so I was reading the front, like they have the active ingredients on the front of the bottle, and I had no idea what it was. I think I actually have it here. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. So it's a Texaclear, so it's like a Texan brand. So I was like, oh yeah, Texas. And there was these words, and I didn't know what they were. And if you're familiar with homeopathic medicine, it always is like really funny words and names. And so I was like, oh yeah, it sounds like I don't know what drugs either. So um, I just saw these weird names on here and I was like, oh, cool, it's a homeopathic medicine and there's no dyes in it, clearly. And then, yeah, and so she had to ID me to get this. And then I'm getting it and I realized, oh my gosh, this is actual drugs. Like this is actual cough medicine. It has NSAID on the label. If you don't know what that stands for, I believe it's non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, I believe. And so those, they're really bad for you. So I think that's like in Tylenol and stuff. And so I go to like open the label and then there's all kinds of like warnings on here and it's like stomach bleeding. Don't take if you have chicken pox or it can also has all these other side effects like hives, rash, shock, skin reddening, facial swelling, asthma. And for somebody who does not take this kind of stuff, like just when I ripped open the label and started reading it, I freaked myself out. But I didn't, I was so sick that I just took it anyways. I didn't take the full serving though, because I was so scared. And I took about 3/4 of it and I started to feel so much better. And thankfully, I only took that in the morning, and then in the evening, I took the other quarter before bed. And this morning, I woke up about 80% better. So thank goodness I was able to rest, and I this stuff works. It did hurt my stomach, I will say, and I don't know if it's like a placebo effect or what, but it hurt my stomach on an empty stomach and after eating too. It was like I felt like it was just like ripping my intestines. And yeah, so definitely only in case of emergencies. The fact that I even took this means that it was an emergency because I didn't have it in me to go get medicine elsewhere or wait any longer to get that. So definitely, obviously feeling a lot better today. And yeah, I was not prepared for the show today. So like I said, I was thinking about doing a cooking show, but then like I didn't have anything to prepare. So I wanted to share my health journey with y'all and the story of how I ended up here where I am today and why I talk about the things that I talk about. It's a really scary story for me to share. I did not want to share it, but also I do have been wanting to share it because I follow a lot of other influencers that I love and admire their story. And every time I see uh, their story and where they come from and who they used to be and how they've changed so drastically and found God and literally just did a whole 180. I always love hearing and seeing those stories, and most of the time they bring a tear to my eye just because God is so good. And no matter where you come from, no matter what your history is, no matter all the bad things that you've done, no matter all the things that you've done that you think are unforgivable, they are. God has, He gave us Jesus and who died on the cross for all of our sins, and we've already been forgiven for all of those things. And so, sharing these stories, it shouldn't really be so embarrassing or scary to share, because it's such a beautiful thing to see people rise up from basically living a life of um, all these sinful things, living a life of lust, living a life of theft, living a life of hatred, living a life of all these worldly things, and doing a 180 and living a life for God. And it's so crazy. I wish I had some pictures. I'm gonna see actually if I can pull up some pictures for you guys of me when I was younger. And so if you guys see me, sorry, if I'm not looking at the camera, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my computer screen, so I can pull up some pictures for you guys. I promise they're going to be super embarrassing, so it's going to be worth it. I promise. I know I have some in here in my email. Let me see if I can find them. Okay, here we go. So yeah, bear with me while I download these pictures. Oh my goodness, can I download all these? Yes. Okay, cool. So I have all these pictures. I'm going to try to upload here and share with y'all. If you guys are watching, stay tuned because these are so cringe. And it's so funny because sometimes when I look at these pictures, I'm like, who is that? I don't even recognize myself. And I'm literally looking at a whole different person. Let's see here. So basically, I guess I'll start when I was younger. I grew up, as I'm sure most people did, eating a standard American diet. And I still do, but I actually loved salads and water. Growing up, my whole family, I grew up with the Mexican side of my family. So all of my family loved Coca-Cola. They would drink it with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Coca-Cola was always in the house, and I was never really a fan. I drank it, but nowhere near as much as the rest of my family. I loved water. I drank water all the time. My dad would make a joke. He used to call me a fish because I love to drink water all the time. Um, and so I drink water all the time. I loved salads. Like I was in elementary school choosing the chef salad at school as a child. And I always loved salads. But guess what? I was always the chubby kid. I was always the fat girl in my family. My uncle, literally, my nickname from my uncle was Gorda, which is fat girl. Literal translation, fat girl from Spanish to English. And that was my nickname. And even now, he'll still call me that when I do go see him. And so, yeah, that was my nickname growing up. Extract these. And I thought, my mom, she actually worked in the school district cafeterias because she did that actually for me because we lived in kind of a ghetto part of Houston. I was born and raised in Houston. And yes, I was actually born in Houston, not a surrounding city. But I did live in surrounding cities most of my childhood. So I was born in Houston, but I was raised in the Spring area, but I also lived in Jersey Village area. I've also lived in Clear Lake and Friendswood. And so I've kind of lived all over Houston, but yeah, my mom, she worked for the school district that I went to in elementary so that I could keep going to that district when I was in middle school and high school because we lived in the ghetto in Jersey Village / Aldine area, if you're familiar with those parts of town. So she was into she was learning about nutrition that the school taught her and stuff like that. And surprisingly, they actually made a lot of stuff from scratch. And they would make the dough for the pizza and the pizza rolls and rolls from scratch. Like they had a lot of stuff from scratch. And my mom is the one that taught me that you can't eat beans alone and as a complete protein. You have to mix it with rice. That was the one, I don't know why, that was the one thing that stuck. And it's so interesting to know that now, know that I know that now because a lot of vegetarians and vegans think that they can just eat all the beans that they want and they get a bunch of protein, but it's not complete protein. And if you're eating a protein and it doesn't have the right amount of amino acids, sorry, I'm having some brain farts. If your body doesn't have if the meat or the food doesn't have all the complete proteins in it, your body is actually not going to properly absorb it. And it's a waste. Oh, it's a waste to eat it if you're not getting all the amino acid profile in there. And so I thought that was very interesting. So my mom, she was into the nutrition that the school was teaching her. And, she loved that I liked the salads. And every time I'd go visit her she'd still be working when I got out of school. And so I'd go visit her in the kitchen and she'd always give me a salad. And I remember I would get the raspberry dressing or whatever. And it's literally candy on your salad. And so I ate lots of salads. Bad thing with salads that, a lot of people think that they're super healthy. They load it up. So the bad thing about the salad is typically the dressing. So the dressing is usually made with soybean oil and canola oil, and maybe even cottonseed oil, which I don't think is a food. I really don't know how people think that it's okay to eat cottonseed oil. But yeah, so definitely if you like salads, eating whole lettuce, fruits, vegetables, meats in a salad like that there's nothing wrong with that. Essentially, or there shouldn't be anything wrong with that. I could actually tell you all the things that could be wrong with with that, but we're just going to focus on the dressing. So the dressing is typically the bad part about the salad. And I love dressing. So when I would get the chef salad in line, like I can still visualize waiting in line and getting my salad and walking out and literally just like drowning my salad in ranch. And like I have no idea. Like I'm sure it was like half soybean oil and then half like corn syrup and GMO seasonings or something like that. But the seed oils, you definitely want to watch out for that. In the salads. And let me see how I can pull up some of these pictures on here for you guys. And also let me check to see if I'm on Facebook here. So yeah, like I said, I'm on a new computer here. And here we go. Nope. I want to make sure I'm live. Okay, cool. I am live on here. If you saw my other one, I don't know what happened there. I had to restart it. It was showing that the stream was like going for an hour right when I started it. So, and it's still showing that actually. It shows a different time on my computer than it does on my phone. So we'll figure out what is going on there. But I'm going to try to see how I can get these pictures up here. I can put this on here for now. So yeah, other things that I ate when I was a kid, I loved like packaged sweet things. We had lots of we ate family dinner together all the time, which I think is a good thing. But the family dinners that we had were KFC, Jack in the Box, 2 for 1, 2 for 99-cent tacos. I remember we would buy like so many tacos and it would just be like a big old bag full and we would just like dump it out on the table and we would just eat all those tacos. And I loved those tacos. Like those tacos were so good. I ate so many of those tacos from Jack in the Box. I even worked at Jack in the Box for a little while in my early 20s. I was a team leader on the graveyard shift. I think I worked like 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. wild in Odessa, Texas, of all places. I'm sure there was only one Jack in the Box there. But yeah, I worked there for a little while as a team leader. Crazy. And I still made those tacos and I still ate them because they were delicious to me. And growing up, I just, we had a lot of home cooked meals too, but one thing that's common in most standard American families is that seed oil, that vegetable oil, that corn oil, the soybean oil. And that's typically what vegetable oil is. It's going to be like a blend of corn and soybean oil, which they're not really vegetables that I want to be eating now that I am aware of how bad those can be. And so, even making a lot of homemade food. My mom, she made a lot of stuff from scratch, actually. Now that I'm trying to remember, she would make strawberry jelly every summer. Everybody loved it. She would make it for the whole family. But it's a lot of sugar in there. And so she would have that. Even, homemade things can still be unhealthy for you if you're not using the right ingredients. And my mom, bless her heart, she thought that she was doing the best that she knew how to do. But nowadays we have access to so much information on the internet, and we have access to all these researchers and doctors and people who have actually done these studies on themselves and take these tests, and we have the documents, you guys. And so there's so much information now. There's no excuse to eat like crap and think that it's okay. There's just no excuse. If you eat like crap and you feel like crap, then you're going to keep feeling like crap if you keep eating that way. And and I think it's so unfortunate, and that's one of the reasons why I really like to talk about health and help people eat better food. I don't think everybody needs to be eating the way that I eat. I don't wish that on anybody, actually, because I wish I could eat more foods, and I wish these foods didn't affect me as they did. And I wish I could just eat all kinds of fruits and vegetables and not have bloat or acne or stomach issues or um, all kinds of things, or inflammation. I wish I could eat chocolate without my joints hurting so bad. I wish I could. I don't. There's so many foods that are touted as superfoods that I physically cannot eat, or else I will be in debilitating joint pain. I will have debilitating joint pain, and my energy will be low, and I'll get acne, and I get cysts. And it's so crazy that people think that just everything in moderation, and just eat a little bit of whatever you want. And I wish, like as if I'd never thought of that before. Like, why haven't I thought of that? It's just not everybody's body is the same. Everybody's different. Everybody um, was raised eating different food. I was unfortunately bottle fed, so that does wreak havoc on your digestive system. Don't think that it doesn't, because it does. And so I don't know how many shots I got when I was a little kid, but I know I got those too, and that also causes a lot of issues. And so yeah, so everybody has a different background, everybody has a different health status, everybody has different needs. So I'm not saying like everybody needs to eat the same way that I do. Let's see how I can share these pictures. Okay, PDF. Let's see here. And yeah, so growing up, I was the fat girl in my family, and I started dieting at the young age of 15. I did all kinds of crazy diets. I did the most extreme one I remember was the lemonade diet. And so you basically take lemon juice, water, maple syrup, and cayenne, and you just drink that for, I think it was like 10 days or 7 days, nothing else, just lemonade, homemade lemonade. And I remember doing that. I started doing that because I saw on the scale I was 199 pounds. So that is the heaviest that I have ever been that I'm aware of. And when I saw that number, I was like, nope, not. This is the highest I'm gonna go, because for me, in my mind, as a child, I couldn't understand how people let themselves go that far. Because it's not a happy life to live. It's not a comfortable life to live. It's not an easy life to live. Life is already hard enough. Why add more stress and difficulty to it? So, okay, all these pictures they're not here, even though they just downloaded. Sorry. So I started dieting, lemonade diet, cabbage soup diet. I just tried to eat less. I did lose weight with that lemonade diet. I think I lost like 11 pounds. But I still ate because I was such a fat girl, but I just didn't eat as much. I remember I ate like a corn dog and a bag of chips one day. And that was like all I ate, and the lemonade. And, so of course you're going to lose weight when you're not eating, and, or cutting down how much you're eating. And so I started dieting, trying all these different diets. Nothing stuck. There was nothing that I enjoyed. And then I moved out to Austin, and let's see here. There you go. I thought that I wanted to be more vegetarian. So when I moved to Austin, oh my gosh, these pictures are crazy. When I moved to Austin, I moved here to go to culinary school, and I wanted to, oh yeah, this is a good one. I wanted to eat more vegetarian, more plant-based, and I came across like some scary, videos, fear-mongering me. I think it was like a PETA video, just kind of fear-mongering people into not eating meat. And so I fell for it. I still ate meat, and I just did not eat it as much. So like I like set rules for myself. I was like, I'll only eat meat if we're cooking it in culinary school or if I go out to eat at a restaurant. At home, I didn't have meat in my house. But I'll tell you what I did have. Definitely wasn't a bunch of vegetables and fruit. It was boxed macaroni and cheese, American cheese slices with white American bread, all kinds, all the vegetarian junk food, and it was just like, it was not the healthiest option. And here I am thinking that I'm eating healthy because, oh yeah, this is a good one here, because I'm not eating meat, but I'm literally eating junk food instead of meat. My health did not really get better, and I just kept eating that way. I was changing sizes. I was still chubby. I was still thick, and I thought that I was doing the right thing. And and thankfully in culinary school they did teach us a lot of from scratch cooking. So, I learned, and I love that kind of stuff, like from scratch cooking, because I love being able to control the ingredients and I love being able to know exactly what's in my food. Even before I knew about all this health stuff, I was really into the DIY stuff and from scratch cooking. Like we made our own mustard and, things that you wouldn't think like, oh, I can make that from scratch, and like hollandaise and sourdough starter and all that stuff. And so that was really cool. We even had a garden in culinary school. So that's kind of where my health journey started with the diets, and then going into Austin, try to be more plant-based. The plant-based saga lasted for several years. And, the plant-based agenda is a thing. And if you don't believe it, just that's fine. You don't have to believe it. But I'm here to tell you that that there is a plant-based agenda. They are trying to get you to not eat meat, which is the most nutrient-dense food on the earth, especially red meat. It's just has basically everything you need, especially if you eat the parts of the whole animal. If you eat nose to tail, it is literally a powerhouse of nutrition. Beef liver is way more of a superfood than kale. And I used to love kale. I would make kale chips. I'd put it in my smoothies. I'd, do all kinds of weird stuff with it. Um, yeah, I used to eat that stuff like crazy. So I had met a guy, and that is when my health journey took another turn. Right before I met him, I had made the decision. So, okay, oh yeah, the scary part. So, I'm in Austin, going to culinary school. I'm in my early 20s. I go into a very dark place in my life. I'm not happy. I'm just living a worldly life like many people unfortunately live nowadays. I had stopped believing in God, probably somewhere in high school. I think I used to party a lot in high school, and I started really early doing that stuff. And although I wish I had never done that, I'm glad that I did it when I was younger versus when I was older. And I'm glad that I stopped doing that at a younger age as well. So I was doing all kinds of crazy party stuff, smoking, drinking, drugs, sex, all that stuff at a very young age. And, I, looking back now, if I hadn't gone through that stuff, I wouldn't have this story to tell you. And so all that stuff continued when I moved to Austin. I was living on my own. I was going to culinary school, college, and and I was partying a lot. Just that was my first time living on my that was my second time living on my own. And and the partying and the drugs, it just kind of got, I was just tired of it. And I started to live with this other guy, and he was into some really hard stuff. And so I joined him for about 6 months. I won't really say what it was, but yeah. So I did that for about 6 months. I lost a bunch of weight. So you can probably guess one or two things that it might have been. And I lost so much weight, and I was so sad, and I was so alone, and I felt, and he was cheating on me and doing all this kinds of stuff behind my back. And and we were living together, and it was just, and it was horrible. And then he kicked me out, and so I had to live in my car. And no, I'm not going to tell any of my family this, that I am living in a car. Of course not. So I had to couch surf for a little while. I had to eventually, have to get back on my feet. I was still eating fast food and all this stuff. I was smoking cigarettes. I was sleeping out of wedlock with guys, and um, doing all kinds of horrible things that people just don't need to be doing. Let me see. I don't know if I have any pictures from that time, but let's see if I can pull up some of these pictures here. And why is not showing up? Oh, here we go. No. Oh, maybe it's over here. Hmm. Having this new computer is crazy. I'm trying to save pictures, and I don't know where it's going. So, yeah, I decided that I didn't want to do those drugs anymore, and I quit smoking cigarettes. I had switched to, it was like when vapes were first starting to come out. So I switched to a vape pen, and then I quit the cigarettes, and then I quit the drug cold turkey. And I was so alone. And my best friend, I don't remember what happened, but she was mad at me, and she basically didn't want to talk to me anymore. And her and I had been through so much. And honestly, actually, I think it's because I was quitting, and I wasn't going to do that, and I didn't want to live that lifestyle anymore. And she she was a lady pimp. She didn't pimp me out, but but she was like, you know not necessarily in a gang, but she was a gangster, and she was a really close friend of mine, and her and I helped each other a lot. But our friendship had to end because I couldn't live that life anymore, and she wanted to stay in that life. And so, and I still think about her, and I pray for her, and I hope she's okay out there. But I something in my head, in my soul, in my spirit was just like, you don't want to live this life. Why are you doing this? Stop it. And then that switch just flipped, and I quit doing those drugs cold turkey. I quit the cigarettes, and then my friends abandoned me, and I'm kicked out of my home. And so, I have to rely on other people to help me, and that's when I really learned how to be okay with accepting help. I firmly believe that by the grace of God is how I was able to get over that drug, because it's unheard of to do that stuff, just to quit cold turkey. And God really knew my heart, and he knew that I didn't want that life, and he didn't want that life for me. And so I started turning more to God. Not really fully all into it, but that's when I started to be more a believer, and identifying with Christ a lot more. And so I started to get back on my feet. I decided to stop eating fast food, and that was just, and I'm still living out of my car, and I'm just like, I need to start eating more whole foods and stop eating this garbage. I was making all these drastic life changes. And then I met this other guy, and everything went too fast. And that was not fun either. But he did play a big role in my health journey, helped me learn a lot of important things, and learn about cool supplements and things like that. And like putting coconut oil, like coconut oil in your tea. And I would make like yerba mate lattes and I still make them. They're so good. So like, I'll take yerba mate tea, and I love to blend it with butter and coconut oil and whatever kind of sweetener you want. But that is really flavorful. And I learned about a lot of supplements and things like that I still implement nowadays. And so that was a really big turning point as well. That is when I started eating even more plant-based. So, the plant-based agenda has been around for a while now, and it was really big. And so I even tried raw veganism. So I tried to be raw vegan. That lasted about a month. Um, and I'll tell you how I felt. Horrible. I was always hungry. I was always angry. And it was like I could never eat enough food to satisfy myself. And the food was good. Like I actually made some really cool recipes. And some of that stuff is really fun. And like some of the recipes I'm trying to think of, like I made a raw apple pie. And it's just basically like nuts, apples, and dates. And and you just make it whatever, cinnamon. And another one that I like to make actually a lot was like vegan raw tacos. So I used sunflower seeds because I was cooking for two. So and I was buying all the groceries for two. And so sunflower seeds were cheap. They're a cheap nut seed. I mean, there's cheap seed. So I would get sunflower seeds and you blend it up with taco seasonings, and it looks like ground taco meat, and you put it in a lettuce wrap, with some guac or whatever. And those were actually really good. And you can also do like a fake tuna salad with sesame seeds too. And I would make this like pad thai, like zucchini noodle bowl kind of thing. None of it was satisfying. And like I said, I was so irritable and I was so angry all the time. I could not last longer than 30 days. And like, I don't think I noticed any benefits. I might have lost weight. I don't know. The scale is not something that's been a part of my health journey really up until like I just started owning a scale. And so the scales, and I don't really know how much I've weighed throughout all these different parts of my life because I still don't, I'm not a big advocate for using the scale. I think it's a good tool to implement in certain cases, but there's so many things that can go wrong with checking your weight on a scale every single day. Our weight fluctuates throughout the day, especially as a woman. Your weight you can change up to 4 pounds or more in a day, depending on what you eat and your activity and all that stuff in your digestion. So I'm not a big fan of checking your weight every single day, but I do think it is a good tool for people to use. And also, like, another thing bad with the scale, like if you're trying to put on muscle, you're going to gain weight. Yeah, muscle weighs more than fat does. So yeah, that's another thing that can like really scare you. I know especially as a woman, women are really like tied to the number on the scale, and really want to have a lower number and all this stuff. But like recently, I have been the most satisfied with my body that I ever been in my entire life, and I'm actually heavier than my heavy weight throughout the past years. But I feel so strong and so healthy, and like I know my body, it looks healthy. Like I don't look unhealthy. And so I'm the most comfortable I am with my body, yet I weigh 15. I haven't checked. I checked it the other day. I'm probably like 15 pounds over what I thought was my heavy weight. And I have been so many different sizes. I really wish I knew where these pictures were downloading to. Do they even, maybe they didn't download. Let me see. It doesn't tell me where they download, so that's the weird part, is where I'm having trouble finding where these pictures are. Let's see. Really wish I could find them for y'all. Oh, they're here. Okay, cool. And yeah, so I did raw veganism, and then I did just plant-based, and I oh, there we go. Okay, sorry, I look like my my face froze for a second. So I tried that, all that stuff, and I did see a lot of benefits when I started incorporating the coconut oil drinks in the morning. We do it with tea and coffee. It would give me so much energy throughout the day, and I would just be, and it would sustain me. Like I wouldn't be hungry till lunch or late afternoon. And and it helped me lose a bunch of weight, and that was really good. And it's so crazy because I look back at pictures of myself then, and like my ex was trying to get me to lose more weight. I was a size 12, 14 in child's clothes. Okay, that's how tiny I was. I probably was like 100 pounds, maybe 115. And looking back at those pictures, I looked like a skeleton. I know I have that picture here somewhere too. I have a picture when I was that super skinny. Let me see if I can find it. It's on my Facebook. And when I look back at that picture, I am like, oh my gosh, how was I supposed to lose more weight? Because it's literally, I'm literally skin and bones. And I look sick. And so does that guy. I wish I could cut him out, but I'm going to see if I can put this up here. Here we go. Why is it like this? It doesn't show them up for some reason. Oh, okay. I know why. They're not in the right format. So I'm going to try to put them together in the right format for you guys. I don't have much time left, but anyways, so I was eating plant-based. I got off the drugs. I got off of smoking cigarettes. I lost a bunch of weight. So I was starting to get my mental health back because I had really bad brain fog. So then I decided to be gluten-free, soy-free. And I was still plant-based, but that made a huge difference. So gluten-free really helped with my digestion, really helped with my bloat, got rid of the bloat. And then when I would try to eat gluten, it was like a rock was in my intestines. It was the craziest thing, like a sharp, jagged rock was just trying to go down my digestive tract. And that's what it felt like for years, because obviously I would still try to eat gluten because it's so tempting and so delicious and it smells so good sometimes. And then people will try to like convince you to eat their fermented sourdough because they're like, oh, it's less gluten, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know, if you're really sensitive, like I was, you can't have the sourdough. I don't care how little gluten is in there, because it still felt like a rock was in my stomach. And it was all like organic, heritage wheats and, you know, all the super high end stuff, filtered water, blah, 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 super fermented, yada, yada, whatever. It still felt like a rock in my digestive system, you know, and I get it. Like it's okay. Some people can eat it. Some people have no problem with it. I wasn't one of those people. And, you know, and other people were trying to convince me otherwise. And I'm like, look, my body is not your body. Okay. No, thank you. I don't even want a bite of it. And so cutting out gluten, cutting out soy also was a really big thing for me. So I was actually working at a Thai restaurant where they put soy in everything. And they did have the gluten-free soy sauce. So that was cool. But when I had stopped eating soy and then I went and had family lunch at work that had soy sauce, it was the gluten-free soy sauce. I remember I had brain fog, like instantly. I was standing there filling up a drink and I couldn't remember what the customer had just ordered like 2 seconds ago. And it was so crazy to see those side effects when you cut out the foods. And, you know, a lot of people get angry because they're like, oh, I used to be able to eat that food and had no problem. But now that I cleaned up my diet and I try to eat that food, now I can't eat it. And it's like, no, I think you are just a lot healthier now. So your body is more sensitive and more capable of being aware of how you're feeling and the side effects that you're getting. That now you can actually see how that stuff always made you feel. And you had just gotten used to that bad feeling. And now you're feeling better. And you think that you were feeling like that all the time before, but you weren't. And so I think a lot of people kind of get mixed up with that. They think that, oh, because they cleaned up their diet, now they can't eat the food that didn't bother them before. No, I think that food bothered you the whole time. You just kind of got used to it. So now that that's out of the way, next part of my healing and redemption journey was my mom got really sick. She was sick for several years. She had diabetes for as long as I can remember. Diabetes runs on both sides of my family. So my mom was struggling with diabetes. She had all kinds of health issues that just kept coming up. Unfortunately, the doctors just wanted to keep testing her and doing all these different studies and tests. And they took out her ovaries, even though she didn't have ovarian cancer. And they chopped her leg off and all kinds of horrible things that doctors do on a daily basis. And, and it's unfortunate because a lot of people go into the medical industry thinking that they're going to help people, but they're just there to prescribe pills and practice on people. It is not healthcare. It is sick care. They just want to put a Band-Aid on things. And, I'm not 100% against doctors, because I do think that there are specific surgeries that are necessary. But for the most part with my mom, it was definitely negligence, and also not being aware of how to take control of your diabetes, because it is possible. And I didn't know that either. I was never taught that, and we're not taught that you can control your blood sugar. People with diabetes, you know what the doctors tell them? You can have sugar, just eat it a little bit, and you have to eat it all the time, like throughout the day, sparingly, to keep your blood sugar regulated. Because if your blood sugar gets too low, then you got to eat sugar to regulate it, to make it go up. But don't eat too much, because then your blood sugar will go high. And it's like, that is so wrong. Like, how does that make sense? A diabetic can't regulate their blood sugar, so you're going to tell them to eat the thing that they can't regulate? How does that even make sense? And, and I wish I knew the stuff I knew, because my mom might be here today, but, God had other plans. And she got sick with diabetes, and her leg got amputated. She had a bed sore on her back. I got to take care of her last couple months of her life. Thank God for that, because nobody else in my family was doing it. Neither was I. I should have taken her sooner. I should have, but I didn't. And I did have her the last couple months of her life. And seeing her having to struggle with that, seeing her having to deal with the doctors literally prick her on the exact same finger every single day, all day, multiple times a day, up until that finger turned black and rotted. So then they had to switch it to another finger until that one turned black and rotted. Just really kind of pisses you off. And my mom literally, and I'm not even exaggerating, that her fingers turned black and rotted. I probably have pictures of it somewhere on a phone, but I couldn't believe it. And the nurses thought that was okay. That if you're a diabetic, you can't heal as easily as a normal person can. And so to prick somebody on the exact same finger multiple times a day to check their blood sugar is cruel. And they did that. And their finger turned black. They're like, oh, this one's dead. Let's try this one. Like, what? So she has 10 fingers. She has 10 of them. Okay. And so she had to get her leg amputated because it had some sort of infection on there. And then she had a huge bed sore on her back. And, she has to lay on her back because she couldn't do anything else. So having to see that, her bed sore, you could see the bone. It was huge. Like, it was big. And having to clean her up after using the bathroom was not a fun thing for anybody. And she was in so much pain. She had to go to dialysis 3 times a week, which is a 4-hour process. They say it's 3 hours, but it was 4 hours. And if you're not familiar with what dialysis is, it is when they take out your blood, clean it, and put your blood back in, because your body is incapable of keeping your blood clean. And so my mom had to go to the hospital here. And then, she was just tired and crying. And I asked her if she wanted to stop going to dialysis. And I asked her if she wanted to go be with Jesus. And she said, yeah. So I had to make one of the most difficult decisions in my life, to choose to put my mom on hospice, because I was her caretaker. And, she's suffering every day. Why? If she doesn't want to live like that, why make her? For my satisfaction, for my family's satisfaction. It's not about them. It was about her and her life and what she wanted. And and she loved God very much, and I know she's in heaven with God right now. And so I had to make that decision to put her on hospice, and I had to endure that. And and I tried to just make her as comfortable as possible. And I know God was with me that whole time. And no matter how difficult it was, I had to take a break from work. I couldn't do anything. And so I was blessed enough to be able to be there, her last breath. My grandma was in the room with us. And I sat there, and I was just sitting there with her. She was sleeping. And I noticed her kind of breathe a little differently. And I was about to get up, but God told me no. God said, just stay here and wait. So I did. I sat there and I saw her take another weird deep breath. And then I was waiting for her to take another breath, and she didn't. I felt her spirit or something shoot through me from my feet and out the top of my head. I'd never felt anything like that before. After all that happened, I learned that they have lied to us about the foods that we need to be eating, and that there is a cure for diabetes. You can manage diabetes, and it doesn't involve eating sugar all day every day, and taking insulin and taking pills, and checking your blood sugar on the same finger every day until it rots. That's not the way to control diabetes. And and I didn't find that out until afterwards. So you can imagine the anger and rage that I was filled with when I found out the actual truth about nutrition. And I became very adamant and very strict about sugar. And I was uh, I didn't eat cane sugar. I tried to stick to more natural sugars, stevia and monk fruit and coconut sugar and honey, which I later found out was like coconut sugar and honey. I can't eat that a lot. I eventually became plant-based paleo, so I would still eat meat once or twice a week, locally sourced meat from the farmer's market. But I was still eating plant-based, and then I eventually became depressed. I gained back a bunch of weight that I had lost previously, just from making paleo goodies. Because as a chef, somebody who loves to cook and bake, like baking is one of my favorite things. And if you've had any of my baked goods, you know that, like, that's what I like to do because they taste so good. And so um, I I got depressed and I gained a bunch of weight from eating chocolate flourless cakes made with coconut sugar or honey, and other desserts. It was still sugar. And so that's eventually what led me to carnivore. I did carnivore for 3.5 years. I was struggling with candida. Um, Before that, I tried all kinds of things to heal my candida. Nothing got rid of it. And I just started to do carnivore. I had some friends that told me about it. I thought they were crazy. And then a year later, I decided to look into it. And I tried it out. It lifted me out of depression. I didn't even know I was in depression. I did not know I was depressed, but I know the thoughts I was having in my head. I didn't care what happened to my life. I was miserable. I didn't like the relationship I was in. I didn't like the job I had. And then once I did carnivore, after a few weeks, all the noise in my head cleared. Just all the bad thoughts, all the noise, all the brain fog, everything gone. And then I could hear God again. And I realized that I could just do whatever I want. I have control of my own life. And it was so crazy that just changing the food that I ate made me realize that, because I know so many people are stuck in that mind frame, think like, oh, I'm stuck here. This is the life I live. This is what I'm destined to be, or whatever. No, it's not. And it's so crazy to think that, when you're struggling mentally, that just changing the food that you eat can really make such a big impact. I had no idea. I did not go to it for that because I didn't even know I was struggling with that. And then I found out carnivore helped me with so many other things. I did it for 3.5 years. I had, and then I went through a really bad breakup. So I fell off. I just, I really wish I had stuck with it, because then I could say I've been carnivore since 2017. But, that's not the case. I'm just human. I'm not like one of those other carnivore badasses that have been doing it since 2017. I know there's a lot of people that I interviewed and stuff too back in 2000. I think 2019 is when MeatRx Carnivore Diet, I think is what it is now, came out, and I was a coach on there, and I interviewed all these people and all these amazing people that are still doing it. I'm not one of those. I fell off the rails so many times. But it doesn't matter how hard you fall. What matters is how you pick yourself up. And so and that you do pick yourself up, because you want to make sure you do that. And so I did carnivore. Now I eat mostly carnivore. I'm not super strict with it because, you know, stress is also an important factor in your health. And so I try not to stress about it too much. Sometimes I still do, but I try not to. And so now I eat probably about 85 to 90% carnivore. And when I did do that, it did bring me closer to God. I wanted to just, you know, be more like Jesus and seek him more and have him more in my life. And over the years, you know, I've just wanted that more and more. And, you know, the past couple years, I really, really wanted to change my life a lot. And I've made some really major changes that have made a lot of my friends uncomfortable and sad for the decisions that I've made, you know, and it's so, and so, you know, choosing a life to, when you want to choose to live on this narrow path of doing what God wants you to do, you're not going to have a lot of people follow you. You're not going to have a lot of people agreeing with you. You're not going to have a lot of people wanting to do the things that you're doing because they think that you're crazy or you're wrong or whatever they think. You know, and so, but that's not what this path is about. It's not about pleasing others. It's a path for God. It's a path for, you know, giving back. There's this saying that I see a lot, and it's your talent is God's gift to you, and what you do with your talent is your gift to God. And so, you know, that's something that I really try to remind myself a lot, because it's very easy to get stuck in our comfort zone and do the same thing over and over again, and, you know, and choose to only do stuff for ourselves and not for others. It's very easy to do that. But, you know, I've been really trying to focus on using the gifts that God gave me to help serve others. I think it's really important to do that. And so that's kind of like, I guess, the fastest way I could share with y'all. Sorry, I could not pull up these pictures. Now that I have this new computer, it's like this is like my first episode again. Like I'm still like having to figure everything out. I know I've been doing this for a little while now, but when you only do it once a week, it's really not that much. And so that's why I want to make more content for you guys too, so I can get better and better and be able to provide more information and resources for you guys. But that's basically the gist of my journey. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me on this rescheduled live stream. I want to give a huge shout out to my sponsor, Wise Wolf Gold and Silver. As you can see, my little link down here, Yecca.gold, will take you to our Wolfpack page. I also work there, if you don't know that by now. I've been working with Tony for a little while now. Lots of really cool stuff coming out in the Wolfpacks. If you think you can't afford gold and silver, think again. Just go to Yecca.gold and you can sign up for as little as $50. That's the one that I have, and I actually have this stuff right here in front of me. So I'll show you guys what I got, some stuff that I have. I've been stacking for about 7 months now, and sometimes I get extra stuff, but I have like this box full. Look at all this stuff. It's just for $50 a month. Like, you get cool things. Oh, I think this is what we got. Yeah, we got a Morgan dollar, and then one of my favorites are the gold backs. So these are a cool new thing. We put at least one gold back in every order. I help make the packs. So if there's anything that you guys want to see in the wolf packs, or any recommendations, definitely send that my way, or to the Instagram, to the Wolfpack Instagram, or all of our social media stuff. And give us a follow too. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I do a lot of the posts there as well, so be sure to go say hi in the comments. It would really mean a lot for the business. If you guys do love supporting Wolfpack and are already a member, that's amazing. Leave us a review too. It really helps us grow when you guys do that as well. So, and if you guys want to check out my other affiliate links, I have a new product that I am going to be promoting with y'all. I'm really excited because it's something that I've been looking for. So stay tuned for that. And if you really like my show, you can support me through all the links that I have down below. It really helps me a lot when you do use those links. And I don't just promote any kind of products that I get for free. Like, I'm very specific on the products that I promote. So, you know, that they're high quality and it's things that I use in my own home. So you guys like it, really mean a lot to me if you guys use my link. And I will see y'all on Tuesday at noon. Unless I reschedule it, I might just change the whole day together. So let me know if you guys have another date that you think is better for y'all to watch live stream. Thanks so much for everybody joining me, and I'll see y'all next time. Have a blessed week, everybody.